let's move over to Joe Biden's upcoming pick for vice president. If it's really Joe Biden's at all, let's not kid ourselves. It's a team effort. The Democrats are running. Who do you think it's going to be, Dr. Bob Holsworth?
Well, I think the safest pick for Joe Biden is Kamala Harris. She's well known, I think, relatively well known. She doesn't bring a particular state, but my sense is that there won't be any questions about her capacity to be the president. I don't think she absolutely mobilizes the Democratic base, but on the same time, she doesn't antagonize the Democratic base very much at all either. So my sense is at the end of the day, she is the, probably the safest pick. Biden says he wants to have somebody that he can, feels very simpatico with. Certainly during the debates, they weren't too simpatico, as she attacked him pretty, ruthlessly on issues with respect to race in some degree. But at the same time, politicians have had far bigger differences in which they wound up on the same ticket together. So my sense at the end of the day, she's the best choice or the safest choice for him. Certainly, there are a lot of other people that he's considering right now. But at the end of the day, I can't imagine that he's going to pick Elizabeth Warren, because I don't think there's any generational contrast there. So I think that doesn't work for him very well. I think he needs to pick somebody because of his age and because of the kind of attack that Donald Trump is making, that people are going to automatically say this person can be president, and you don't have to make that case very substantially for. And some of the other folks that are being considered, you might have to make that case. It's going to be a little tougher. Val Demings from Florida, or I think Keisha Lance Bottoms from Atlanta, the mayor, who's very good on television, but is relatively newcomer to national politics. There's some talk about Karen Bass in California. I think that you can make the case for her being the president, but she's not as well known as Kamala Harris. So the more I think about this, the more I think that Harris makes the most sense. But that's not always what we see in a vice presidential choice.
Right. I like Karen Bass as the pick. Here's why. She didn't attack him on race, and race is the big issue right now. And I think if Kamala Harris is picked, they just play the tape on her attacking him in the debates ruthlessly in the markets that the Republicans want to suppress turnout. Karen Bass is a competent legislator, was Speaker of the Assembly in California, well-known, well-liked in D.C. Haven't heard too much baggage, if you will. But I think that's a better pick because she won't outshine the top of the ticket when they need to have someone who won't take away the spotlight from Biden and have the enthusiasm gap grow. Doesn't have the negatives that Harris has, especially in the Black community. I mean, when I talk to African Americans, they say, she's a cop, and that's a tough one right now. So it's a double whammy. She turns off some voters because, and again, you don't have to turn them all off, just enough to win, right? In key states. So I think Kamala Harris comes with a little bit more uncertainty politically for Joe Biden and can possibly outshine him, which no front runner wants. But so I'm going to go with Karen Bass. What the heck? Nothing to win.
Yeah, well, I think those would probably be the number one and number two choices that I would think would be there. As I said, I think the issue with Elizabeth Warren as well is that she is a hero to many of the progressives, but at the same time, would be somebody that some of the moderates who are supporting Biden would have to swallow hard with in that front. And what she seems to have done very effectively, actually, has been able to influence the Biden platform. So I think there's a lot that the progressives are starting to like about what they're seeing in terms of the issues that Biden is talking about. And so he might be able to speak about those issues without necessarily having to identify someone who is so clearly connected to the most progressive wing of the party for his VP choice. So I think Harris and Bass are, at least right now, make the most sense to me, and we'll have to see where he goes.
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren, I know, would mobilize much of the business community who don't like Trump, like some of his issues, but in this negative partisanship could be driven to say, look, here are your choices. Elizabeth Warren or Republican Party, and basically going in which direction ideologically do you really want to go, swallow hard on your pick for Donald Trump. Because again, I just about every business person I speak with, they're like, I don't like the guy, but business was pretty good before the COVID. Didn't like the way he handled the pandemic, but these guys long-term would be much worse for my business. And I think, for the folks that I represent and work with every day, that's a big one for them. And I think Warren would turn off a lot of voters that would otherwise want to stop Donald Trump and the craziness that sometimes goes on with this administration.
Yeah, I'm not sure he wants to bring up any what I would call extraneous issue to what he's already brought up. That by and large, that Biden's running the campaign as a referendum on Trump.
Right.
He's he's content with that. He wants to run as a referendum on Trump's personality, Trump's handling of COVID, and the high drama that Trump brings to politics every day. Biden wants to say, let's be responsible, let's get rid of this stuff, and at the same time, let's make some significant changes in American life that you're going to see in my policies. But I think Biden's strength as an empathetic person that is perceived to be responsible and connected to the middle class is not something that he's going to want to jeopardize with a vice presidential choice that brings a totally new dimension into the campaign.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Dr. Bob Holsworth, thanks for joining us here on Virginia Free TV. Look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at 10 a.m. We're doing a weekly show with you, and really enjoy it, and thank you for your time.
Hey, take care, Chris. Have a good week.
You too. Thanks, Bob.